Hey boss, you know that story about the Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith's office inappropriately emailing Crown prosecutors that we stood by during the election even though they denied it? Sure, yes, I remember. Yeah, well, it turns out that couldn't be verified, so we're gonna have to retract that. What? Damn it. We should have read our own article. I hate retracting things. Agreed, but this one turned out to be unverifiable, so we're just gonna have to retract it and move forward. Fine, okay, I guess you're right. Get back to writing that article you were doing about how dangerous misinformation during elections is. I'm late for a meeting. I gotta go see the other members of the Trusted News Initiative. We decide what's true. Good evening, you're watching government-funded news. The Bank of Canada raised its key interest rate by 25 basis points to 5% on Wednesday, warning that it could take longer than expected to tame inflation. The rate is now at the highest point it's been in the last 22 years, and the Bank of Canada governor has said that he's willing to go higher if need be. Well, it could be worse. It's not as though our house price to income ratio is the worst in the developed world, and at least he didn't tell everyone to go buy a house a few years ago because interest rates would stay low for a long time.
You can be confident that interest rates will be low for a long time.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Fuck.
How does a self-sustaining economy work?
I don't understand how the U.S. economy works, much less some sort of self-sustaining one.
Military recruitment fell 35% last year. According to a federal briefing memo, volunteers were harder to find amid Canada-wide labor shortages. And the defense minister has said that we're in the middle of launching many new initiatives to attract and retain more personnel, including lowering barriers for women, Indigenous people, and LGBT, etc. The briefing note stated that every Canadian should feel that the Canadian Armed Forces are a first-rate career choice where they will be welcome, valued, and safe. I mean, call me crazy, but I don't want people in the military who need to feel safe. That sound like terrible soldiers. I want people who are willing to die for my country. Are these people retarded?
Never go full retard. You don't buy that? Yeah, Sean Penn, 2001, I am Sam. Remember? Went full retard. Went home empty-handed.
Perhaps in an effort to boost morale and recruitment, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau visited Canadian troops stationed in Latvia and spoke to them about the government's fight against climate change and disinformation. Unfortunately, many troops were unavailable to hear the remarks as they were out buying their own helmets.
I'm not even going to say anything, it's so embarrassing.
While speaking about the effects of Bill C-18 the other day, the Prime Minister raised a few eyebrows by likening this struggle of forcing tech giants to pay for sharing links to Canadian news content to the aid that Canada has given Ukraine in its fight against Russia, or the efforts by Canada to help the Allies defeat the Nazis in World War II. Of course, this makes total sense if you remember this part of Winston Churchill's famous speech.
Our newspapers aren't making enough money. That's very important too, perhaps the most important. Why even bother win the war if we lose a few newspapers? That's what I say.
Two prominent community groups aligned with the Chinese government have claimed credit for helping Olivia Chow win the recent election for mayor of Toronto. These community groups, one of which alleged to host the illegal Chinese police station in Ontario, quote, went all out to support Chow's push for mayor by supplying numerous volunteers, according to a letter from one of the organizations. But according to a statement by Chow's spokesman, they did not ask for or coordinate any volunteers from either organization, so. Well, wait a minute, isn't that her speaking to the Fuking Business Association to recruit volunteers? The same place that shut down after they began being investigated as a Chinese police station? So Toronto basically just voted in the staff of the illegal Chinese police station? A man has been arrested for operating a canoe while drunk. Police officers in Grand Forks, BC say they arrested the pissed paddler in the early afternoon after called to the lake by a bystander. The RCMP used a fire department boat to make contact with the Vintner voyageur, but the soused seafarer refused to comply. The boozing boatman then made his way to a nearby dock and hid under for several minutes before eventually being brought out. He hid under a dock after they found him? How drunk was this guy?
What did I say? He can't hold his liquor.
The Trudeau government has increased the number of federal employees by 40% since first taking office in 2015. Another 21,000 federal workers added last year has brought the total to nearly 100,000 added since Trudeau first took office. Which of course begs the question, what are they all doing? Well, that's all the time we have tonight. Thanks for watching Go FU News, and remember, be on the lookout for misinformation during elections. Just not from us. Good night.